Let's go!
Let's do this.
Ah!
Here we
When
are.
will the
We are
minutes
live.
start? Welcome, everyone, to this first session of the new year with new technical issues from Zoom that we love, but we will fix them and troubleshoot them as we go. Welcome, everybody, to Fake It Till You Make It, which honestly has been the theme of this webcast from the very beginning, I think. All right, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Sanne. I'll be your host today, and I work for Bartels, a small testing company. I'm currently on assignment with a big government agency. And yeah, Chris, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris Armstrong, and I am your Testing Peers Conference 2025 Program Chair. Very exciting. We are less than 2 months away, and we have begun inviting speakers, and we are all jolly excited. So if you are able to make it to Nottingham March 13th, be there. It's going to be awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you, Chris. Hanna, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Hanna and I work as the test consultant at Visionite.
Veerle, come on in.
I'm Veerle, and I work for Dutch Railways, which is awesome. I'm on the bicycle team, and that's it. That's all you need to know.
Awesome. Shey from the Great Beyond, do tell us, where do you work? What do you do?
Technical issues. So hopefully I don't crash the stream by trying to appear in front of all your lovely faces.
All right, we'll see how we go. If he does pop in or pop out, we will either ask take questions or not. We'll deal with it. So
It's
today
funny
our
as hell though, because
Yeah.
I actually just also got technical issues. I can't get the YouTube chat going anymore. It's bizarre.
Oh wow.
I don't know what's going on today, but there
Well,
you
say
go.
say
Sorry.
hello in the YouTube chat if you want to get involved, friends.
Yes, we love having a good discussion. So the theme of today is to fake it till you make it, which according to Wikipedia is to fake confidence to inspire real confidence. Something we've done before. Anyone recognize this?
Oh yeah.
Because
Yes.
maybe we should start. Like, when typically would you say you maybe always do this, sometimes do this?
Oh.
I would like to say I do this a lot, but I feel like I'm an open book and people can always tell what I'm thinking. So it's probably not much point for me faking anything.
I'll tell you a small example where I pretty much always fake confidence. It's when I have to call people I don't know on the phone.
Mm.
Like, that is a small thing I
Mm.
have to do a lot that I absolutely despise. And I will pretend that I am someone that is someone who knows how to do that in order to
Yeah.
get through each and every one of those calls.
I do the same in the school playground with all the other parents. Where I'm like, yes, I'm a fun, happy-go-lucky person with all you other people.
Yeah, faking it like you give a shit.
Yeah. And it's just to get over the hurdle of that first like 30 seconds of complete existential dread where you wonder if you even know how to do things like dial a phone. Like, that for me is just to kind of get over that little hurdle. I don't know if that counts as fake it till you make it.
Well, I think it's part of it. I mean, so for me, I mean, it's a little bit of a story time if you want, about faking it until one makes it. Like many people in our industry and around the world, I suffer from imposter syndrome. So yeah, being able to sort of stand up and be confident, sound confident, or whatever is quite can be quite stressful, and used to be incredibly stressful for me. So when I came back into testing from being a dirty rotten project manager, I started going to meetups, the London Tester Gathering, and I remember to this day the feeling of thinking, okay, I'm not sure about this, and putting my hand on the door handle of the room that the meetup was in, taking a breath and becoming someone else. becoming a person that was sure of themselves, becoming a person who would step into a situation rather than step towards the corner, towards the shadows, and hope that nobody notices them. So yeah, those of you who've known me for years may not know that, but that's been my way of being for quite a while, to the point where I've now absorbed that persona to make it a bit more natural, and that's quite a common thing with people who have quite heavy imposter syndrome.
That is
But so
really interesting. Yeah.
Is that person you now? Or is it
It's
still a
partially,
show?
yeah.
Are you making it now?
Partially me.
Partially you. Okay. Because that's the other side of this tactic, is that it can make imposter syndrome actually worse instead of better. Because you are consciously putting on like a mantle, trying to be something else, that it actually makes you continuously feel like an imposter. And it just makes that whole thing worse. Has anyone had the opposite effect?
Sorry, I'm also distracted because Richard Bradshaw is in the chat saying Shey is haunting me. And I'm like, yeah, that's all of us today, mate. Don't you even worry about it. Shey is the ghost of technical issues.
You see if you'd pitched up on time, Rich. Just saying.
Hi.
What if we pitched up on time, Shey?
Yeah, exactly. Hi, pot, kettle.
Yep. All right. So the question was like, has it also ever contributed to your imposter syndrome and made it feel like you were more of an imposter by faking it somewhere, or with some type of learning?
Right. I know you're asking for a specific example and I don't have one, but I did when I was thinking about this topic and like sort of brainstorming the session, I was thinking about that. Like, what kind of advice is fake it till you make it? Because I do feel it comes from a place where apparently there is no space for imperfection. Like, you have to be good in order to be accepted somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure I like that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
Well, I think you're right. There is a level of expectation to it where you think you might have to pretend some kind of competence in order to be accepted. Maybe one of the elements we're missing here is that it's also a part of learning. And I think that is another cultural thing. Like, is imperfection allowed if you are still learning, but kind of somehow assumed later on with experience, you're not allowed to be in that state anymore. So you have to kind of do this fake it till you make it thing.
I mean, I had one job where I felt like I was faking it for quite a while, because I had to write C code, which I had never done. I did read C for Dummies before I went for the interview, and I had to do a programming exercise, which took me the whole weekend. And they're like, that's one way to solve it, which I mean, it did work. It's not good. But I mean, even after quitting me, I still feel like I was faking it because I can't do C code shit. I mean, to this day, if anyone asks me if I've done that, I'm like, that's a dark period in my
Talk
life.
Yeah. But is it like to be said in the chat that you felt like you couldn't be seen to be trying, that like people weren't allowed to see that?
I think everyone saw that I was trying as good as I could. I even had one point where someone had like even a person from the clients who had commented in my code, like, does this work? And just made a comment in one of the files and did not send a message to me or anything. That's like their way of communicating. It's like, does this work? I'm like, I have no idea.
I mean, I think Tobias makes sort of echoing Veerle, but makes a really good point of like sort of, if when we talk about leadership and things like this, it's an interesting one of like, don't be afraid to be seen trying. It gives others hope. I think that's interesting. I mean, it's both yes and no. I think when I think about it from a leadership point of view, sometimes you need to seem confident to bring people along with you. And that may be one of those things. I mean, geez, I've got a child of over 14 years and another one of 10. I've been faking being a dad for a while, and kind of getting away with it. But as a leader, yeah, it's okay to say I had to learn it to say it's okay to say that I don't know this, or I'm a little concerned, or I'm a bit afraid, or I'm not sure. Prior to that, it would be, I would be faking that I was sure about this and everything, et cetera, et cetera. So I think absolutely there is an element of it's okay to be
Okay.
seen to be
All right.
vulnerable.
But here's a question then, right? Is that faking it? Is that thing fake? Like, I don't really feel like that is fake. I think you are doing the best you can, and you are not sharing all of your deepest emotions at the same time. So you're not maybe telling your kids, hey, listen, I'm also scared. I also get nervous. You're not telling the people in your company, I don't know if this is going to be a really successful project or not. I don't feel like that is faking it necessarily. Like obviously it depends on the situation, on the person, but I feel like faking it just sounds really impostery to me. Which might mean that like we just don't really have the same idea of
I
the whole
think I think
phrase.
a lot of this whole thing is about other people and our perceptions and our experiences with other people. Because like I feel like an imposter with everything in my own life, but the minute other people are involved and I think about what they might be thinking and whether they've got those levels of communication with me about those things. So like to Shay's point, as a parent, you're thinking about these bits, and as a leader, you're thinking about those bits. Maybe you don't know everything, but you're trying to model what you think is good behaviors and things you want to do. But then if you flip it and you think actually people believe in me, it's almost like have an arm around you, and you know people actually think that you can succeed and you can do those things, and you're more empowered. That external perception and sort of person in those areas, that can change that fakeness into makeness, which is terrible English. But do you know what I mean, though? It's other people centered. I mean, because I think if we get stuck in our own internal echo chambers about these things, rarely does that really come out particularly positively if you're in that sort of impostery situation. And so therefore with other people and their influence on us, like, if I'm terrified of flying and there's turbulence and I'm looking terrified, it's going to influence the way my kids are with those things. If I seem like everything's going to be okay, that will influence the way that they are. And the fact that they feel safe will then be reassuring to me, and it's kind of like reciprocal. And I wonder, like,
But there's
do
a
we ever?
balance.
Yeah,
Because in this exact same example, and taking it back to, for instance, being a team lead, making a bit more a work example than parent example, that confidence can be really useful for persuasion or to get a certain decision. At the same time, it's that balance that I think, as somebody put in the chat, where it's like sometimes you want the opposites. You want to show that what you don't know, what you're unsure about, and you want to show that you hate the turbulence and have that be what is modeled and what is shown. And I think it's so hard to
yeah.
decide which of these two then is useful.
Well, that's where sort of like being aware of the other people and what would be the right thing to do. Modeling, asking the stupid questions in meetings so that you can sort of be inclusive to other people is a really strong thing as well. And
Yeah.
and so I think, yeah, you're right. It's context dependent. It's being aware of the audience that we are and who we're sort of representing or advocating or with in those various times.
Also, can I postulate to all of you guys that there's a positive version of this? Because there's the fake it till you make it version where you're asked to do a thing, and because of your experience and what you know, you kind of like, I don't know this specific thing, but I know this very related thing. So I am sure I'm gonna breeze right through this, and you'll just say, yes, I can do that from a very positive point of view and confidence that you're able to transfer skills. Like, is that another version?
Shay is gone.
Does
He's
that
completely
mean
dropped
are we
out.
are we still streaming? Does this still work?
Yeah, it does
He
seem
is. It's
like
still
it.
online. It's fine. Let's carry on. There's no problem. Shay's disappeared.
Let's just
But no,
keep
no one
going.
knows because no one sees
If
him.
Shay disappears forever, does that mean we can never get off YouTube?
Oh my God.
Oh, we have to stare
Oh,
with
because he
locked in
can't end the
forever.
stream. Oh,
That would be a fun game. 24 hours of 9 out of 10
this will be
tests.
interesting. If you want to know if we're ever going to get back offline, stick around till about 20
Chris,
minutes or so.
didn't you and Bruce once do like the 24-hour
We did.
Ministry of Testing
24
home bash,
hours
was
on
it?
test bash home. We raised £4,000 for the
That's a lot of
COVID
money.
the Kovacs thing. Yeah, I
That's
mean
so
that was
good.
it was brilliant. It was so brilliant. I even sang a Britney Spears inspired song in the 99-second talks.
I don't remember that.
No, don't. It's not worth it.
Oh. Right. Anyway, we have gone so far off topic
Carry
that
on.
Would you
Tobias has
like?
already left.
Yeah. Would you like me to bring you back to the last
Yes, yes.
thing I
No,
proposed?
I'm just all right. Yeah. Sorry, you were on a positive roll. Let's
Yeah,
go.
on a
Let's go.
positive road, like that you confidently think you can pick something up. So you just say yes to something, or indeed you just because you think something is transferable. So you're like, yeah, of course I'll figure that out. So you say yes, even though you might not know or be able to do that specific thing.
Can
You
I
just
can I grab onto this and go for a little story time?
yeah.
Go for it.
Yes.
Because the exact situation you described was last year, or well, in 2023, just after Agile Testing Days, when Sam Nietzsche asked me, "Do you want to be in a musical with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on." But then, so the thing is, right? So I've been during this stream, I've been all like, "Oh, fix it, you make it is bad advice. It's like imposter syndrome, sort of
Adjacent,
inspiring.
yeah.
Yeah, like we shouldn't be feeling the need to fake it. Right? There has been this one situation in my life where I have felt the absolute urgency to fake it, and that was on stage when we were doing that musical. So." For those in the audience who don't know, I was in a agile testing Days musical. It was about an evil AI gone rogue. It was very silly. It was just a lot of fun. And the thing was, we never got to practice all of us together because we were all in different countries. And it was really hard. So we all practiced basically online. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then we got to Germany for the Agile Testing Days, and we finally got to do some actual runs of the whole musical. And so we got people to sort of like look at us and give us feedback. And like one of the main things that was important, like the most important feedback was like, yeah, you look very awkward because a lot of the time, because we hadn't practiced
Yeah.
choreographies or dancing or whatever. And if you've got people on stage who are just singing and like not dancing around, it just looks like karaoke. So and we were like, we can't ask people to watch karaoke for an hour. That's going to be horrible. So we're like, right, we have to do something. So we had to come up with all of these silly dance moves and just make it a little bit more lively. And I swear to God, right, I felt awkward every single second of that. And we were like just dancing the Macarena, and I was like waving a
Yeah.
lightsaber around, and we were throwing streamers at a unicorn. And it was so ridiculous. But that was the one time in my life where I felt like you cannot show the people how awkward you are because it ruins the whole illusion. So you have to stand on that stage and do your silly little dance moves and pull a face as if this is what you were born to do. And also you think it's fucking ace. And if they don't think it's ace, that's on them because I'm the bee's knees right here. Never felt more awkward in my life, but it worked.
It did work. I can confirm as someone who was in the audience. Also, it wasn't just the fact that you made it through, which of course wonderful, but the awkwardness became a big part of it. That like the few spots where it was still there and visible to the audience, because it really wasn't all throughout, but there were bits of it. They were like, oh yeah, this is awkward. We're embraced. So there was that. So yeah. I think
So I
that's a
guess
very positive thing. But did you feel like you were going to be able to do that going in? Like, was that something you felt like, oh, I'm going to be able to handle this?
I hadn't really realized how bad it would be. Otherwise, I probably would have said no. So I guess, yeah, like I went in with a sort of innocence, like, oh yeah, I'm sure this is gonna be fun. I'm sure like it'll be weird, but we can do it. And then as we started practicing in real life, I was like, oh fuck, what have I signed up for? Um, But then I don't know, at that point I kind of went like, well, I'm in too deep now, so I'm gonna have to go through with it.
I'm hoping you
Yeah.
can tie us into another thing that I found online, which is a very, very popular TED Talk from a lady called Amy Cuddy about confident body language. And considering you were jumping around on stage doing stuff, would you say that any of that, just like actual physical posturing, helped with that confidence?
I know you're talking about like the power stances.
Yeah, so this is a TED Talk, guys, where the idea is that you can kind of trick your mind into feeling confident by assuming like very powerful Superman type poses, and that will then translate into feeling confident.
I mean, you had lightsabers.
You had lightsabers.
Yeah. Oh, the lightsabers may have helped. I don't know. Like, I've never really been much about the power stances. Like, again, they just make me feel awkward. Like, they just make me feel silly. And if you're doing something feeling silly, then it's not going to make you feel powerful, is it?
No, no, it
No.
isn't. But you're all people who have taken the stage. Is it true when you present? Is there like a posture you take there that helps kind of align the body and mind? Like, is that connection true for you in any way?
Not the sort of assuming a position as Ben's put it in the chat, but for me, it's all about like I'm super mega nervous in build-ups to those sorts of things, but when I get on the stage, I look for the audience. I look for people that do things like you just did, Sanne, where you nodded, like little non-verbals, people that sort of they recognize that you're doing those things and you're looking for little bits of little nods, little reassurances. Like if you're sharing the stage with someone, I think that can help. But also with you're with people who are actually engaged in that which you are doing. I've always found that really good, and I think probably to the point of what you were doing, Veerle, at Agile Testing Days, that's a very safe audience, broadly speaking, of people that want you to succeed. And that helps build that confidence because once you've done it, you could do it again in possibly a less safe environment because you know you've done it, you know now have had that experience. And I think, I mean, I mentioned it before, and I didn't mean to derail everything and bring it back down again, but I do think the influence of other people in those sorts of scenarios are important. And also the other part is looking at things that make you feel awkward as an audience member, putting your mind into that area and saying, well, what do I feel awkward when I watch these people in, and I know I want them to succeed, but there's little things whether you're holding a pen or pointing or moving around on the stage or whatever. Like I probably
Mhm.
think about it too much. I'm sorry.
Okay, I've got a question. Here's this one thing that I've been meaning to ask. Speakers who at the start of their talk say, I'm actually very nervous. What do we think?
Oh, this is in the same line, isn't it? Like, do you let them know or do you kind of power through? Um, like, I wonder what is that sentence doing for you and what is it doing for the audience? Because I think when speakers say that, they want it to be kind of a disclaimer and kind of a
Yeah.
safety thing, right? So you want to be like, if this is shit, it's because I'm nervous. Like, just so you know already. Like,
Yeah.
Which is the exact reason I don't like it. And
Yeah.
also, like, I don't give a fuck if you're nervous. Like, just do the talk. At the same time, Tobias was saying earlier, like, if it could also be a way to sort of reassure others, like, look, I'm this big shot keynote speaker, and even I'm nervous, which in a way I like, but I'm like, maybe don't say it at the start of your talk because,
Yeah.
like, I'm
Say
geared,
it
Right.
later
right?
on,
I
maybe.
have a bit of a story time because at
Woo!
Yustef,
Shey is back!
Shey!
well, he's not in picture, but
I have story time because all right, story time, let's go.
All right. So at USTEP, I had a moment where I completely blanked out this year and on stage because of nerves. And I remember standing there and just not knowing what I was going to say next, right? So absolutely the nerves got the better of me. Just for everyone that didn't get those details, the slots were actually 20 minutes and not 45 like we thought. So there was like major shock just before going on. Anyway, afterwards, someone came up to me and said, "Oh, I thought that was so cool what you did." I was like, "What do you mean what I did?" That you stood there on stage and just told the audience, "Give me a minute," and you took the time to recollect yourself. that was so cool. And I was like, that was not meant to be an example in any way, shape, or form. That was me just completely blanking out. But that's what I did. Instead of saying I'm nervous and putting that in as a disclaimer, I did model the behavior that, look, if you get stuck, you just say, dear audience, just give me a second, and you breathe and then continue. And that's, I think, a much more positive example than starting off by saying, I'm really nervous.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are really nervous before giving talks. I know I am. I mean,
Yeah.
the first just small talk I did, which I did at the same time as Veerle actually at Eurostar way back in the days. I was so nervous before that one, and it was just so nice afterwards. Before it was dreadful. But yeah, I think I agree also because Ben was it? Yeah, Ben said that it's so much easier when you have the physical audience there. Because the first proper talk I did was at Eurostar in 2020 when it was online. And the only
Yeah.
person I had when I was like pre-recording it was the sound guy. And let's just face it, he did not listen to what I said.
No.
And it's so hard to try to like engage and try to like feel confident when you have this guy just sitting there looking super bored and just handing the video recording.
But to Bridges' point in the chat, Hannah, maybe you can address this. Is doing that inauthentic? So when you don't describe how you're feeling, or you have some extra confidence as a team lead, and you don't necessarily show what's going on the inside, is that
I think I
inauthentic?
show it, but I don't say it. Because
Okay.
I think it will be obvious that I'm a bit nervous. I'll be fiddling around with stuff. So I think most people can tell that I'm nervous, or that I'm rambling a bit, or I start speaking really quickly. So I think it's obvious to other people, because there's a lot of like nervous cues that I tend to get especially in the beginning of the talk. So I think that's one way of like showing but not saying it. I don't know, or maybe say something at the end, but I think starting with it might not be. I mean, it won't help you get less nervous, I think, by saying that you are nervous, because that's just confirming to yourself that you're nervous.
But I think in the broader picture, I mean, it's also true, like in different roles on different moments, like with the airplane example with the kids, you're gonna fake that confidence. That is inauthentic. That's not how you're feeling. Is that fair? Like, is that not then a problem as a leader, as somebody that people look up to? Like, to your point, Veerle, like, should others know that speakers are nervous when they talk?
So I guess the discussion then becomes about authenticity and inauthenticity. And is it ever okay to be slightly inauthentic if it serves a different purpose?
I think, yeah, appropriateness is the
Appropriateness.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Because I think there are times where it's okay to be inauthentic to benefit the greater group, greater like good. I think that's maybe a good place to come from there. Because if I don't want my entire team to be nervous as a team lead,
Mhm.
then yeah, I think being confident and calm is useful even when I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not fair for me to put that on them.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah.
So someone earlier said, I think it was Iman, friend of the well, we're not a podcast, friend of the stream, Iman, I think said it's important to have a balance. And I think like it's such a cliche, right? Because it's always all about balance, but then again, it kind of is. And so I feel like you don't bring your whole full spectrum of emotions to most situations.
Mhm.
Like you might have those at home with your loved ones, with your friends, but like at work, just out and about in daily life, like you don't tell the baker that you had a horrible night's sleep and you're feeling really rotten. Like nobody, not nobody cares, but like the baker doesn't care about that. It's not necessary. So I
Yeah.
feel like there's this balance to be had between just sort of like being a bit reserved. So you don't bring your full spectrum of emotions to work. You bring what you need or you bring what is convenient. I guess there's a difference there between bringing what you need and leaving the rest at home or wherever, or completely faking emotions that you don't have. Like there's a difference between not showing fear
Yeah.
or going all in and saying, this is the best idea we've ever had, and we're gonna go for it. Like there's the balance, I think, between those two, where it's not quite inauthentic, but it's maybe also yeah.
contextualized.
Authenticity isn't
Ooh.
everything, is it? Like, as in, you're not when you're being authentic,
Nah.
you're not revealing everything and all to all those things.
No.
It's appropriate, and it's informed, and it's doing sort of the right thing that you think is the right thing, and learning and piecing those things together. It's not a everything is this way. It's a you're gonna do things
Yeah.
differently in different contexts, different scenarios with different people. Even if you did the same talk to 5 different audiences, that would be different because your audience would be different. The time that you have allocated, like Sanne said, for her stuff would be different. The people you're doing it would be different. You might have learned something from something. Feedback is king. You might have learned something one time, so then you iterate, you change, you take that for advice. Maybe you experimented and you went, oh, I didn't feel so good about that. Or we all have baggage and we have experiences that inform the way that we behave as well. So when people talk about you always have to be your full self, some people have got this sort of thing where they go, I can't. And they shouldn't be forced into doing that thing just because someone says they should. They have to be comfortable with that version of that self being themselves as well. So
Yeah.
it's not as simple as just all in or all out.
I think that somewhat nicely segues us into the last thing I wanted your feedback on, because what I'm hearing you say, it's a lot about facing emotion, maybe sharing it. And one of the suggestions that I found online was that it shouldn't be fake it till you make it. The expression should be face it until you ace it. And that's what you're doing there. You're facing the unconfidence to get to a point where you're able to do a thing. And that's actually what you're doing.
So then it becomes practice makes perfect.
It kind of does. Yeah.
But
Except
that's
with the practice, there's the element of like confidence. I think that with practice makes perfect is missing from that saying. Because
Fair
the
enough.
confidence element and the unconfidence or imposter syndrome feelings are a big part of this, which not every type of practice engenders in me. Like the phone calls, hell yes, but like trying some other new things like that is fine.
Fair enough.
So should it be called face it till you ace it? Shall we change the words?
It's better than but hate on it until you're great on it. But
I actually
like
love
that
that
one too. Hate on it till you're great on it. That's going to work for a big part of our audience as well, I think.
What about the other way around? Hate on it till it starts grating on you.
I think that you need to stop.
hating
you
until
faked it too
grating.
much then.
All right. We're going to close this out and everyone just say
Has
goodbye.
Has this been the most chaotic stream we've done so far?
I
Yes.
think so.
I think so. Yeah.
The voice from beyond is my highlight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been funny. I didn't realize you on Zoom I can see like myself as an avatar, but I didn't. Only when I looked on the stream, there's only 4 people showing. There's no
The
fifth
voice
avatar.
from the beyond.
Yeah.
Where sorry, Shey is just faking his presence on this stream until he finally makes it on.
Exactly.
Using my radio voice. Hey everybody.
All right, Shey, we're gonna end with you, but Chris, first start us off. Where can we find you? Where can we reach you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Blue Sky. Yeah, let's just go with those two. Christovskia, and also all good fun things at testingpeers.com.
Awesome. Hanna, where can we find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Veerle, what platforms are you on lately?
You can find me on LinkedIn with just my normal name as it shows on the screen. You can also find me on Blue Sky. I am Witch of the Test, as I was on Twitter when that was still a cool place to be. And that's it. You can find me nowhere else. I do
All
not
right.
exist. Don't even think of me.
You can find me on LinkedIn with my name as well. I'm also on Blue Sky, increasingly reading a bit more there. And Shey, close us out. Where can we find you when we can
Where are
find
you?
Well, you can find me on WCAG radio, but otherwise on Blue Sky or LinkedIn. And maybe on this stream, because if Zoom is playing up so bad, I may not be able to stop it.
All right, that's us
So
for
maybe
today,
sometime.
folks. Shay is going to try and end this stream, and otherwise we're going to be stuck in this existential loop for a while. Let's see how
I'm
it
just gonna throw
goes.
my laptop out the window, and that's it.
I think that'll work.
Yeah,
In
that
the
may-
end,
that
we can
Yeah.
always turn
Yeah.
things off. They're still machines, we can still just
Thanks
turn
for
them off.
joining everyone in the chat, and thanks for all the comments
Yeah.
as well. The chat was really
Yeah.
lively today. That was
Thank
lovely.
you.
Always good.
Bye,
Oh,
everyone.
okay, I'm
May-
going to
Bye.
end the
maybe
stream
bye.
button. Are we off yet? Hang on. Let's find
Please, Jay, get us off.
out.
I don't want to be on the stream anymore.
No, I'm not in the